Good evening and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a beautiful night here at Reese Stadium. Paul Wasserman alongside Pat Reed bringing you the final home game of the season for the men's lacrosse team as they welcome in the Seawolves out of Stony Brook. It's going to be another big game here. You know, it's no rest, it seems, for this men's lacrosse team. They had a game here Friday night against Brown. Terrible weather. I mean, you know, rainy, cold, not ideal lacrosse conditions, but the men's team escaped with 11-8 victory. You know, it was far from certain throughout the game, though. Brown, at one point in the fourth quarter, took a 8-7 to lead before Yale ran away with 4 straight goals in that fourth quarter, Pat, to really put away their third Ivy League win.
Yeah, Yale came out. They were a little bit sluggish. Looked like the game was really impacted by the weather, just really dragging. And then fourth quarter came alive, 4 quick goals, and really just put it away and got that really tough win in conference.
You know, we were talking during that game about who was going to need to step up in that fourth quarter, and again, it was the usual suspects. Brandon Mangan finished with 3 goals, 2 assists for his second Ivy League Player of the Week honors in 3 weeks, rather. So Yale actually has had the last 3 Ivy League Players of the Week with Colin Flaherty sandwiched in between Brandon Mangan. So great performance from him. For Ryan McCarthy, team high 3 assists as well. Good performance from him. Eric Natali, the goalie, has been on a tear the last few games. Finished with 9 saves against Brown, including 5 huge stops in the fourth quarter to shut out the Brown offense. You know, coming in tonight, we take a look at Stony Brook. Really high-scoring offense. I think we went through the schedule. They've only scored fewer than 9 goals twice so far this season. Last week, they fell to UMBC 13-12. The week before that, it was a 14-13 loss. But, you know, this team sure can score, Pat.
Absolutely. Multiple 20-goal scorers, and just a team that offensively can come back. Down 7 goals to Binghamton, put 7 goals in the fourth quarter. Just went on a tear and really just an awesome offensive firepower.
You know, it should be an exciting game tonight. You know, both teams certainly can score. You know, it's the one, you know, or it's not the last non-conference game for the Bulldogs, but it's a nice little break in the Ivy League action as we take a look at the Ivy League standings right now. A lot of excitement going on there with 2 big losses or wins this past weekend as Harvard beat Penn 8-7 in overtime and Dartmouth beat Princeton 10-9. So we're going to take a look at the up-to-date Ivy League standings right now. With Yale currently in second place, 3-2 record, you know, we're pretty sure that guarantees them a spot in the Ivy League tournament with the top 4 spots. You know, they still have a game obviously against Harvard left.
Yeah, need to win that game at Harvard really just to give themselves a better shot at taking that second place overall. Realistically, you know, they're probably going to end up playing Princeton either way in the Ivy League tournament, and really just a big final last game. The Harvard game, it really doesn't matter what it does for the Ivy League tournament. It's just a matter of beating Harvard.
As it always seems to be. And you look for the game before that at Maryland. Maryland obviously with a big loss this past weekend, but still a huge game against the Maryland Terrapins, now ranked 4th in the nation. You know, we try to imagine how Yale might make it into the NCAA tournament. Obviously, they win the Ivy League tournament and they're in. But if they don't win the tournament, Pat, what does Yale need to do to try to secure an at-large bid?
Well, they need to win out with everything except for Maryland. Assuming that they would lose to Maryland, you know, a number 4 team, really a great team. If they were to lose to Maryland, they would need to at least win 1 game in the Ivy League tournament just to keep their strength of schedule, their RPI strength. If not, a win against Maryland would be huge. If they win out and win against Maryland, it would be hard for me to see the tournament committee not putting them in. So that would be the main goal, beat Maryland.
That game against Maryland next Saturday down in College Park. That's a 1 p.m. start there. Again, this is the final home game of the season for the Bulldogs. These, you know, home games seem to come and gone real quick. 4 games in the last 2 weeks. You know, and obviously the second game in 72 hours for this Bulldog squad. We'll have to see, you know, how Coach Shea and the rest of this team, you know, they come out, or they're really able to prepare against this Seawolves offense that is really potent. As we take a look at the goalie for the Seawolves warming up right now, Dan Shaughnessy, the freshman, he's been quite strong really with a 48% save percentage, giving up slightly under 11 goals per season, but or per game rather, but it's been a strong performance for Stony Brook this season. Yeah,
and outstanding when your team feels really comfortable. Coach Nagel came in 2 years ago, and him feeling comfortable putting this freshman in the net. He's got another goalie that he feels could be a good starter, but goes with the freshman. You got to have the faith in the young guy.
And we take a look at the offensive side of the ball for Stony Brook. Last game against UMBC, they had a couple of guys who registered hat tricks. Jeff Tundy, the senior, and Brody Eastwood, the freshman, lead the team with 29 goals each. They both had a hat trick last week against UMBC. Expect for them to get a lot of action out there as well. Also, Jake Sekenzia also had a hat trick as well. So, you know, 9 of the 13 goals came from those 3 players alone.
And Tundo, a transfer from Ohio State, 51 points on the season, just awesome numbers. just going to be a real threat for Yale today.
This series between the Seawolves and the Bulldogs goes back for 15 years, but the Bulldogs have only met 3 times. The Bulldogs lead the series 3-0. They've never lost against the Seawolves, but last year down in New York, it was a much closer game where the Bulldogs escaped with a 9-8 overtime victory. The Seawolves, though, led at points 5-1 and 7-5 midway through the fourth quarter. So definitely a very tough team, a team especially this year that can certainly score. It's going to test this Bulldog defense. We'll have to see where it goes. It's certainly not a game that the Bulldogs can gloss over in preparation for Maryland.
I'm absolutely sure that Coach Shea probably brought up the St. John's game, the first game of the year that Yale was expected to win, lost, and everybody had said going into that game, well, Yale has never lost to St. John's, and it's one of those things that you just say, that happens once in a season. We're not losing to a team that hasn't beat us before.
For Stony Brook, it's their final non-conference game of the season before they go back towards America East play with Hartford and then Albany in the next 2 weeks to close out their season. They're sitting at 6-6, 1-2 in the America East. For the Bulldogs, 7-3, 3-2, crucially in the Ivy League. That's good for second place all alone. They've wrapped up one of the top 4 spots, and now, as you mentioned it, Pat, it's a play for seeding to see who they're going to play. Probably Princeton. You mentioned it. There's certainly no strangers to Princeton. The game earlier this season down in Princeton, the Bulldogs ended up losing by 1 goal. But it was a game that the Bulldogs felt that they should have won.
Absolutely, and one of those games that the team really looked at as we let this one slip away, and they're gonna fight. And the great thing about this team is, coming into the year, there was a lot of question marks, losing so many scorers last year: Mahoney, Gibson, Colin Still, just all these guys up and down the line, and now having to replace those guys and to come in now ranked 15th in the media poll, tied for 12th in the coaches poll. This is a team that's really had a lot of guys step up, and they're gonna start showing, hey, we can play with everybody in this country. Cornell, it was a 2-goal game, and it was a very close game. Princeton, a 1-goal game. We can play with everyone in this country, and that's what they're showing game in and game out.
Yeah, their Cornell game, that 2-goal loss, is their biggest loss of the season, only by 2 goals. The Bulldogs have really been in every single game. And it seemed earlier in the season those 1-goal differences were not going their way. But right now, as the Bulldogs have won 4 in a row, they're getting those results, and they're playing tough in the fourth quarter, especially these last 2 weeks. Bulldogs have really dug deep, winning some crucial faceoffs when it counts, and getting some good turnovers and some good shots in on net. If we take a look now at Dylan Levings, 46. He's going to be crucial here tonight on Friday night against Brown. Only 11 of 20. It's uncharacteristic for him to go about 52%. He's up at 64% almost for the whole year, but a tough night against Brown.
Yeah, and that's every team that comes in and plays Yale. The guy, one of the first guys that they talk about is Dylan Levings because he can control the game. Dylan Levings wins every faceoff. You're out of the game because Yale's going to control that ball. They're going to possess it, and even with the pace of play sped up considerably, he's going to give them more possessions.
We're going to take a quick break for the playing of our national anthem. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the press box here at Reese Stadium. Paul Wasserman alongside Pat Reed, bringing you the final home game of the season for the men's Bulldog team that has gone on a tear. Winners of 4 straight. They take on the Stony Brook Seawolves here tonight in a non-Ivy League matchup, but still a very big matchup. Before we cut away for the national anthem, Pat, you were talking about Dylan Levings and the face-off X. We're going to take a quick look at that face-off X here tonight. For the Seawolves, they're actually their regular face-off guy, I think, is out injured. That's Frank Lucatorto, 43% on the season. Hasn't played the last few games, though, and picking up the duties has been J.J. LaFerrette, 29 of 77 on the season. That's good for 37.5%. had a struggled game last week, or a couple days ago rather, against UMBC. So we thought it was going to be the same for Dylan Levings on Friday, though. It looked like a favorable matchup for him, and he struggled a bit, but you got to hope he comes out strong here tonight.
And I'm sure that Dylan Levings, when he finished that last game, he stopped himself and he said, this is going to be, I'm going to come out strong for this next game. He is a tireless worker and just sits by himself working on his face-off over and over and over again, comes off the field in between face-offs, and he just keeps on working even during the games. He's not going to have a game where he lets down like he did the last time. This is going to look for a big stat day for Dylan Levings.
You know, he won a couple big ones, though, when it mattered in that fourth quarter, though, to allow the Bulldogs to go on that 4-0 run to really, come from behind and win that game 11-8.
And we can see Stony Brook starting right with a long pole facing off against Dylan Levings. Probably going to try to even if you just assuming Dylan Levings is going to win it, we're going to then go right on defense and try to take the ball from him.
As that is Lafayette to take it against Levings. As the final home game of the season is underway, Levings wins the first faceoff easily from Lafayette and sprints up towards the retraining line. As Lafayette defends him. Levings still holding on with the ball. Now he dishes it back out to McCormick, over to Kucharzik. Mangan now cycles it over now on the far side. It's Conrad Oberbeck. Kerry Kucharzik as the rest of the offense of the Bulldogs gets their way onto the field with Colin Flaherty, gets a touch. Kucharzik cycles it over to the far side with McCarthy, who picked up 3 assists in last week's game. Mangan fires it over to Kucharzik. Bounce pass over to Flaherty. McCarthy has really picked up his play in the last couple games. Seen a lot more of him out on the field.
And a great midfield dodger.
Ball now over to Flaherty. Over to Oberbeck. Back behind the cage with Mangan. Looks to take a first shot of the game. He does, but a save early on for Shaughnessy, denying Mangan the first goal of the game. Take a first look at the Bulldog ride of the night. They did quite well on Friday night against the Bears and just causing a number of turnovers and really not allowing the Bears to get that many offensive opportunities.
And they're dropping into a simple 3-3 zone, just clogging up the middle, trying to not let them advance it past that midfield area.
Seawolves cycle the ball around. Makes it way up top to Jalen Rogers. Bulldogs have been quite tough on defense these past few games. Have yet to give up, haven't given up 10 goals in the last almost a month, it seems. Chris Hughes has the ball now. First shot in on goal, off the post. Denied. Now we have a whistle down for a crease violation. It's going to go back to the Bulldogs, but first shot hits the pipe. Again, a very potent Seawolves offense, averaging just over almost 11 goals per game. Have only scored fewer than 9 goals twice this season. So for Eric Natale, he certainly has to be on his toes all game long.
This is a team that if Yale comes out flat, they're going to find themselves in a deep hole.
The Seawolves actually scored more of their goals in the first quarter than any other period. I think 39 in the first quarter as opposed to 33 that they averaged throughout the rest of the game. Bulldogs back on offense for the second time this evening. Shane Thornton gets a touch. Shane Thornton picked up a big goal in the fourth quarter in Brown's game. Sean Shakespeare now. Thornton's going to bring this one over by the official on the near side.
Little equipment malfunction there.
Thornton gets the ball right back. Draws the slide now. Back behind to Mangan. Quick fire as the drill takes a hit. He tried to get a shot off. Picked up now by Mangan. As Shakespeare didn't watch that ball all the way into the stick. Quickly hustles and picks up the ground ball. Shakespeare back over to Oberbeck. Oberbeck tries to bring it in towards the goal. Background looks for something. Now fires it back out to Shakespeare. Shakespeare looked for the shot. There's a shot and score for the Bulldogs. Shane Thornton from the far side. 1-0 for the Bulldogs. Pretty little shot from him.
And just a really great ball movement by Yale. Moving the ball left to right, getting the goalie moving, and then just a nice low-to-low shot in traffic.
For the Bulldogs, especially against the Seawolves tonight, you really have to hope they can get a number of shots in on goal. Past couple of games, they've struggled in getting shots on target. They've gotten shots off, but many of them have been wide. We take a look at this shot on replay. Thornton a little too fast for our cameras on that goal. That's just how much power there was. We're back in action. The Seawolves won that face-off against Levings. They're back on the offensive side of the ball. Trying to counter the Bulldogs' first score with one of their own. That's Cole Milliken now on the far side. Leaves it for Dylan Curry. Milliken's going to run off the sidelines in favor of number 24, Andrew Buron, coming on. It's Chris Hughes now with the ball. Shot out by the Seawolves. Shot snuck by Natali. A quick response from the Seawolves. And number 12, Dylan Curry, notching the first score of the evening for Stony Brook.
And the Bulldogs got caught on defense. Usually a very quick team. 2 players stacked, and it went to the player behind, and just nobody out getting a stick on him. We'll see the ball comes out. And Jack Ambrose just a second late out on getting out to that ball.
And Eric Natali looked like he saw that pretty cleanly, got his stick down, but just a hair of a fraction too late to get onto that one. Now 11-10 remaining in the first quarter, 1-1. It's going to be a whistle against Dylan Levings, though. He's going to have to run off the field. Seawolves back on offense for the second straight time, looking to get their first lead of the evening as Chaylen Rogers scoops up the ball.
And the Yale coach is not happy with that. They felt Dylan Levings was pushed down, and the refs are saying that he warded off.
Dylan Sparglia picks up the ball now for the Seawolves. Back behind to Mike Rooney. Good defense, though, from Johnson. Ball down on the ground. Johnson goes down, but nice job by Alex Otero picking up the loose ball. Good defense from the Bulldogs as Johnson a little slow to get up. But Bulldogs and Kucharczyk's going to bring it back in the offensive side. Kucharczyk over to Oberbeck, who shot just over the cage. Mangan backs him up nicely, remains with the Bulldogs. Stony Brook coach quite adamant about the call for the timeout. That's Jim Nagel in his second season, a 13-16 record overall. Very adamant about that timeout call.
Yeah, out into the restraining box, about 10 yards onto the field.
Take our first timeout of the evening. Uncharacteristic very early on that Coach Nagel takes his first timeout.
Well, he's probably just getting his team settled. That you come back, you get that second goal, and you get it on offense, and you want to take your time and have a good play. And Peter Johnson just quick poke check right in there and took that ball away. A great defensive play.
Looks like it's going to be the first goal for the Bulldogs again. There it is. Shane Thornton, great shot from him, blowing by Shaughnessy. Freshman out of Sudbury, Massachusetts, could not catch up to that shot from Thornton.
And here we got a shot of Coach Graham Needy talking with the offense about what they want to be doing to get some more shots on this Seawolf defense.
Again, Shaughnessy, 48% save on the season, giving up just under 11 goals per game. The Bulldogs, they're averaging just about 11 goals per game, 10.7. They got there barely last week against Brown. They went into the fourth quarter, I think, with only 7 goals, and then if it weren't for that fourth quarter explosion, we didn't think they were going to get to double digits. So the Bulldogs need to try to right that offensive ship.
Yeah, and that's again a different game. That night was it was a cold, rainy night. I'm not worried that Yale isn't going to be able to come out tonight and put up 10, 12 goals on the Seawolves tonight.
You can't really ask for much better weather here in New Haven, Connecticut. A high of 58. Obviously, it's getting a little bit colder as the sun goes down, but a beautiful night for college lacrosse. Play has been restarted now with Flaherty. Back over to Michael Lippin. He cycles it back behind the cage now with Conrad Oberbeck. Oberbeck brings it to McCarthy. McCarthy looking for Zadrill. Zadrill had a big goal last game as he gets the ball, but is immediately hounded by 3 Seawolves defenders. Seawolves are going to come away with it. But hard defense from the Bulldogs. Gets the ball right back, but they get a penalty flag out of it. It looks like it's going to go against Ryan McCarthy.
30-second push. Ground ball in there, just fighting for it. Push him out, getting a little physical, and knock the Seawolf defender down.
Getting a big game for McCarthy on Friday night. Picked up a team-high 3 assists to help lead the Bulldogs back from their deficit. Seawolves take their first extra man offensive opportunity of the evening on the season. 29% effective rate. Get a quick whistle. With 9:56 remaining here in the first quarter, a 1-1 game. The Seawolves look to take their first lead of the evening. up a man for the next 25 seconds. Rooney cycles it over now on the far side with Rogers. Back to Rooney. Dishes it over to Hughes. Back on the far side with Rogers. Good pass, finds a wide open Mike Rooney right on Natali's doorstep. Easy finish for him as the Seawolves go up 2-1.
And a great ball movement. Stony Brook really just very good with their sticks, keeping the Yale defense guessing, and then finding that cutter low on the back door.
Very good start for Stony Brook as they are coming out hot against this Bulldog defense.
Here we watch it from the top of the box. Right down on the goal line, extended, fakes high, shoots low.
Very little Natali can do there against a very accomplished scorer in Mike Rooney. 14th goal on the season to go along with 13 assists. Levings won the faceoff, tried to win the foot race to the ball. Still fighting for it is Levings. Now we get the foul called against the Seawolves. Bulldogs are going to pick up that faceoff after a ferocious battle for that ground ball. Bulldogs trying to get back at even strength here, trailing 2-1 in the early goings of this contest. Brandon Mangan over with Bonacci, now back to Thornton. Thornton picked up the first goal of the game a few minutes back. Sean Shakespeare brings it back to Thornton. From sophomore to sophomore, goes back to Shakespeare. Back behind the cage now to Mangan. Cycles into the drill, quick catch and fire. Kirby's a drill from Brendan Mangan. 2-2 for the Bulldogs. What a goal.
You may stop him once. You're not going to stop him that many times. Kirby's a drill, just lethal in front of that crease.
How quick his release is just always amazes me. He barely seemed to have caught that ball before. It was right back out of his pocket. What a goal.
And I'll tell you, the speed on the pass from Brandon Mangan, I mean, that looked more like a shot than a feed.
For Brandon Mangan, his 20th assist of the season to lead the Bulldogs, go along with 25 goals. Kirby's a drill, 22 goals on the season. One of the most effective shooters in the entire nation. So off the face-off, a foul goes against the Bulldogs. Seawolves right back in on offense.
And another procedure call, so we're going to have to watch and see if that ends up becoming, if Yale gets another one, if that ends up becoming a 30-second penalty.
Jalen Rogers back over to Mike Rooney, now back to Rogers. So the rest of this Seawolves offense joins them. Over to Dylan Curry, who scored the first goal for the Seawolves. Picked up by McCormick. Back to Curry. Over to Chris Hughes on the far side. Defended by the short stick Mark Glissini as he's going to cycle all the way back behind the cage. Hughes up against Glissini. Cycles it back out to Rooney. In the center where he is just taken out by 4 Bulldog defenders. Ball still down on the ground. Comes to a Seawolves player. Shot saved by Natali. Huge save by him. The Bulldogs come away with the loose ball.
I'm not sure how the Seawolves kept that ball and they were able to feed the crease there, but a beautiful save by Natali.
So Mark Glissini's able to evade traffic and get past the midline. Not on your screen, though. Peter Johnson took a fall at the end of that play. He's hobbling off. It looks like it's one of his ankles he's favoring. He's going to get checked out by the trainers. We'll keep you updated on that one. That's be a big loss for the Bulldogs in this contest. Now back on offense, it's Sean Shakespeare. Brings it over to Kirby's a drill. Back over to Shane Thornton. Over to Michael Bonacci. Back to Thornton, who's got some space for the shot. Takes one wide of the net. Mangan there to back him up.
And a beautiful split dodge there to get some space.
Mangan brings it in towards the cage. Looks to take a shot. Gets one in, but a save. Rejection by Shaughnessy. Seawolves, here they come back on attack. Diving challenge from Mangan. Tries to knock that ball loose to no success. Quick outlet pass from Shaughnessy gets the Bulldogs back on defense as Illyrio De Merle gets his first action so far since I've seen him out here in place of Peter Johnson, who is up off the bench and looks like he's going to try to get back in at some point. But there's Illyrio De Merle marking up the guy back behind the cage. Back up with Jalen Rogers. Seawolves look to exploit this new look defense of the Bulldogs. Dylan Curry blows by his defender, but a good defensive play by Jimmy Kraft. Gets that ball away, but the Bulldogs can't scoop up the ground ball yet. Now it's Jimmy Kraft who comes right back up to get it, but another Bulldog player a little bit hobbled as well. That's Michael Bonacci who's going to hop off the field.
This is a very, very physical game today. A lot of sticks flying. I'm really surprised that we're not seeing more flags here.
Good pass from Natali, though, but Flaherty could not watch that all the way into his stick. Ball still down. Picked up by the Seawolves, evading the end line. Here the Seawolves come back on a nice turnover. They're going to call that out of bounds on Alex Harris. Good defense on the ride by the Bulldogs. Gets the ball right back. 5:46 remaining here in the first quarter. And what's been an action-packed start to this contest. 2-2, a lot of hard hits from both sides to go along with the goals.
Great physical play. Bodied up, just knocked the guy right out of bounds. Beautiful hit.
Mangan over to Flaherty. Now with Michael Lippin, it goes over to McCarthy. Bulldogs look to settle things back down with Overbeck. Looking to get a feed now as it makes its way over with Lippin. Lippin looks to drive, takes a shot wide. Wide of Shaughnessy's net. Overbeck there to pick it back up for the Bulldogs. 5:12 remaining in the first quarter. Overbeck looks to curl, gets some space. Shot, save right at Shaughnessy. Shaughnessy backs out. A couple big saves here in this first quarter for the Seawolves goalie.
And Yale keeps on getting that ISO dodge, curling around to the right. Every time they're getting open, they're getting the shot. Three times not being able to finish.
Now the Bulldogs back on defense as it comes back to Mike Rooney behind the cage. McCormick in on defense against him. It's DeMerles now on the far side. Back with Rooney. Up by the restraining line. Over with Chris Hughes now. He has a short stick, Alex Otero. Otero against Hughes. Hughes looking to get in on the cage. There's Rooney's got space, takes a shot, save from Natali. Michael Quinn got there on defense at the last moment. Here come the Bulldogs on offense off a quick outlet pass from Natali. Lippin over to Obeck, shot save from Shaughnessy. Big saves on both ends. Here come the Seawolves right back. DeMerle tried to cause a quick turnover. Errant passing from the Seawolves. Here come the Bulldogs again with McCormick. McCormick up to Mangan. A leaping catch from him. It's going to establish the Bulldogs back on the offensive side.
Who is this team that's jumping all over the place, making these crazy passes? Not a standard Yale Bulldog night.
Certainly a fast-paced start to this contest. That was just a quick back and forth. Huge saves from Natali and Shaughnessy, keeping their teams in, locked in a 2-2 draw.
And Yale just needs to finish these one-on-ones with the goalie. If they don't put them away, this is not going to be a good game for them. You can't miss 3 open looks without getting a point.
To Mangan. Now over to Sean Shakespeare. Looks to get a feed into the slot. Shane Thornton tries one way, tries the other. Can't find anything going. Going to dish it back out. Now to Michael Kesey. To Mangan. Mangan with 1 assist already on the night. Tried to get to Zadrill. Zadrill couldn't find the stick. Turnover goes right back to the Seawolves. Here they come on a quick counter. That's Cody Vassilo with a lot of speed. Brings it right in the restraining line. 2:33 remaining here in the first quarter. 2-2 game. Both offenses very dangerous for the Bulldogs. Just haven't been able to convert on their ISO opportunities. Seawolves haven't, a couple, that last save from Natali, really the only reason why the Seawolves aren't up 3-2.
And an outstanding save. Good movement on the ball, high to low, and he was just able to get to it.
With Mike Rooney, defended by Peter Johnson, back in. Rooney, though, able to beat Johnson and goes 5-hole on Natali. 3-2 for the Seawolves. Rooney picks up his second goal of the night, picking up where he left off. Already 15 goals on the season, 2 here tonight.
Well, and now this is what we're talking about before. The same play, Yale got stuffed on 3 times. Stony Brook comes back, gets that ISO, gets a step on the defenseman, and finishes it.
Good individual effort from Mike Rooney, though, going from behind the cage, beating Peter Johnson. You take a look at it here. It goes 5-hole on Natali. Just a tough play from him, but very nice job by him. It was off the face-off. Bulldogs look to stem the bleed. It's picked up nicely by Harry Kucharczyk. Pass to defender McCormick. McCormick's being chased down. Looked like he wanted to try to take a shot, but wise decision in backing it back out.
Well, and he was forced to his left hand.
As Mangan just gets his stick ripped out of his hands. Another big turnover from the Seawolves defense. Here they come again, trying to get back onto offense. Leading the Bulldogs 3-2. Only a minute 40 left here in the first quarter. A slow start for the Bulldogs after they got 2 quick goals. Have really quieted down, missed a couple big opportunities.
And the Bulldogs are a big momentum team, so they need somebody to step up, put a quick goal, get the team fired up, and get things started.
Sakenzia makes it back to the GLE with Rooney. 2 goals already on the night for him. Now with Dylan Curry, who has the other goal for the Seawolves. Chris Hughes takes it up against Harry Kucharczyk, beats Kucharczyk. Now over to Curry. Curry couldn't keep that ball in his stick for that long. Curry now back to Rogers, back to Curry. It's with Curry, as we have yet to see a timer on situation here in the first quarter for either side.
And there it is.
And there it is. Dylan Curry goes back behind the cage. Defended by Glacini. Tried to get that pass through, broken up nicely by the sticks of the Bulldog defense. Scooped up by McCormick. Bulldogs got 30 seconds to try to get something going on offense. Natalia's going to take all the space he can. Finds a streaking Kucharczyk on the far side. Good pass there as it makes its way into the offensive side with Oberbeck. Zadrill finds its way to Mangan. 18 seconds left here in the first quarter. Bulldogs going to try to get another shot in on Shaughnessy. It's with Colin Flaherty. Flaherty back behind to Mangan. 8 seconds left. Mangan's going to try to take it in. Shot as he is just hit hard. Good hit from the Seawolves to prevent Mangan from getting that shot in on Shaughnessy. Long clearance pass just as time expires here in the first quarter. Seawolves going to go into the first quarter break up 3-2 against the Bulldogs. Seawolves, good job fighting back after they went down 2-1 and scored the last 2 goals. 2 of them coming from Mike Rooney. Clearly, he's got a lot of offensive firepower. This Bulldog team, though, needs to start converting a little bit more.
Yeah, Yale's had the looks. They've been there. They've gotten good offensive movement, been able to get in close. The problem is they're not finishing. And this is something that Coach Shea talked about the last couple of weeks, that we can handle when one guy has a bad game. We can handle sometimes when 2 guys. But 2-3 guys start missing shots, we're going to start having some trouble. And this is a game that if they don't put the ball in the net, Yale's going to be in a lot of trouble this evening.
They have struggled the past few games in putting them on net. These are by far the best scoring chances I've seen in the last 3 home games for the Bulldogs. Great ISOs behind the cage. Take a look at the highlights from the first quarter. That's Mangan. Always seems to be off of his feet, whether it's catching a pass or there on that shot. Taking a lot of contact.
And a lot of very physical play from the Stony Brook defense. Just waiting for him to leave his feet and then pushing out on him and knocking him on his back.
It's been a physical game on both sides of the ball there. You see on offense, Mangan taking a big hit. And then on defense, Peter Johnson had to come off for a play or two as he looked like he had messed up his ankle a little bit. But back out here as we see him up against Mike Rooney, that's a tough assignment all night long. You see just how talented Rooney is on that second goal of the evening for him.
And one of the things there, no slide comes up from the Yale defense, so I don't know if that's a plan that they have, that they're just going to let their defensemen take the guys. I would have loved to seen a slide come and help him out there. That he just came off the field because his ankle was hurting. Let's get some help there and get the slide in quick.
Bulldogs take the field now to start the second quarter. Johnson out there along with Jimmy Kraft and Michael Quinn on the defensive side. Dylan Levings to take the face-off there. It's been another tough evening so far in the first quarter from the X up against J.J. Lafayette in the long pole.
And Mike Rooney's over talking to the official, trying to get a little clarification on something. I think he's trying to, make sure that he gets his hands free so he can try to put the ball in the net.
Bulldogs trail now 3-2 going into the second quarter. Levins tied up by Lafayette. Goes to the ground again. No call, though. Ball comes up with the Seawolves. Back to Shaughnessy. Another win for Stony Brook. Here they come, trying to get back towards offense. It's George Benitez running away from the challenge of Mangan.
Very, very surprised with how few flags we've seen so far.
Yeah.
It's been a very physical game. A lot of plays that, you think you're going to see a push and nothing comes.
McCormick defending Rock. So it makes his way back behind the cage with Sakenzia. Sakenzia, a big game against UMBC on Saturday. 3 goals in that contest. Now over with Dylan Curry. Chris Hughes now just off the bench, brings the ball in. Up against Harry Kucharczyk. Behind the cage to Rooney. Cycles it over to Rogers. Curry over to Hughes again. Right in the middle, which is going to be a tough place all night long for any team to try to get off a shot against the Bulldogs. Good job closing down the middle and forcing the turnover. The tally gets play restarted now for Yale. Bulldogs look to get their first offensive possession here in the second quarter. It's with McCormick.
And they've got Kucharczyk wide open in the middle here.
Did a good job finding him pass coming from Jimmy Kraft. Conrad Oberbeck now back behind the cage with Kirby Zadrill. Colin Flaherty now with Michael Lippin. Bulldogs have had a lot of success from going behind the cage on the ISO so far in the first quarter. Mangan cycles it back up top now with Michael Lippin. Lippin looks to beat his defender, beats him, and does. Shot just wide of Shaughnessy.
And a great look for Lippin. Got to step on his defender.
Oberbeck up against Benitez. Goes one way, now the other. Looks to spin, gets a shot in, wide of the right pipe. Mangan backs it up. Again, another decent look for the Bulldogs. Can't seem to put him on frame yet to start this second quarter. 12:58 to go. McCarthy now back up to Michael Lippin. Oberbeck over to Mangan. Flaherty. Flaherty's pass broken up as it tried to make its way to Brandon Mangan, and big turnover without getting a shot on net for the Bulldogs. That was Cody Vassilo who was able to get his stick in the way. Here come the Seawolves, though. Jimmy Kraft steps on his defender. Back behind the cage with Mike Rooney. Quick pass up top. Couldn't keep it in his stick, though. However, was Dominique Sarasi. We're going to get a timeout call, I believe, as Sarasi was struggling to control that ball. He was just getting hounded from the Bulldog defense. Again, 3 minutes into this quarter. A timeout from the Seawolves.
Well, too much time. He was standing right at about 12 yards out, right in front of the net, and that ball just came through, came right up to him, and he just had too much time.
Had a wide open look and just rushed it. Lucky for the Bulldogs, Sarasi. You're not going to get really a better look than that from 12 yards away from Eric Natalia, probably all night long.
Here's Coach Nagel telling his guys what he wants out of them. Playing the game that they want to play. Up 3-2 on Yale. This is right where they want to be. And a very good team, not a team that can be taken lightly. And I worry with this many games right in succession. It's just going to be a difficult game for the Bulldogs to keep that energy up.
For the Bulldogs now, their fourth home game in 13 days. Really just packed that home schedule in the past 2 weeks. Really, since they've come back from spring break, it's been nonstop action. Then they get a few days off, but not as much rest or preparation time as I'm sure they would like going into Maryland. Then they get finally their first full week of preparation for that Harvard game, April 27th, up in Cambridge. That is a huge game, obviously, in terms of age-old rivalry, and then obviously for Ivy League seeding.
And that's the only game that really matters to most of these guys.
Yeah, especially for the senior class, look to end out their regular season with a big win against Harvard. Chris Hughes now up against Otero. It's Dylan Curry. Back behind the cage. Pass broken up nicely by Peter Johnson. He's going to pick up that ball. Hounded by Mike Rooney. Good defense from him. Doesn't look to appear as if his ankle's bothering him at all on that play. Jimmy Kraft's going to loft this ball up. Finds Alex Otero on the far side. Otero now to Brandon Mangan. Quick pass finds Conrad Oberbeck. It needed to be that quick as a Seawolves defender was trying to intercept that pass.
The Seawolves defense is playing very aggressive tonight, out on every pass, out hustling after everything. I'd be curious to see if they're going to be able to keep up this pace for the entire game.
Oberbeck now over to Thornton. To Bonacci up on the far side, defended by Benitez. Thornton collects it. And another errant pass for the Bulldogs, picked off by the Seawolves. Bit of trouble, though, getting the loose ball. Now as it comes away with the Seawolves. Here they come on the break. Quick pass. Errant pass now as Natali thought about trying to chase that one out. Just out of bounds, they're going to call it right back to the Bulldogs. But, again, on that break from the turnover, Seawolves had numbers and had an opportunity right on Natali's doorstep, just couldn't hold on to the ball.
Well, and that pass going into the middle, Peter Johnson was looking to hurt somebody bad. So it's almost a good thing that pass didn't get through.
A physical game certainly by both sides. As McCormick's pass finds its way up to Bonacci, now to McCarthy, over to Oberbeck. Bulldogs gone on a bit of a mini scoring drought here. Haven't scored in the last 20 minutes of game time. Trail 3-2 to the Seawolves. Now with Michael Lippin. Ryan McCarthy. Back to Lippin, over to Colin Flaherty. Last week's Ivy League Player of the Week. Flaherty looks to beat his defender, takes a push back behind the cage now to Mangan. Over on the near side with McCarthy, goes up top to Lippin. Blows by his defender, finds Flaherty, shot just over the cage for Flaherty. He had a good look, able to turn and shoot, just couldn't keep it down.
Great ball movement from this Bulldog offense, but everywhere they turn, these Seawolves are right there.
Oberbeck takes it back from behind the cage, finds Mangan right on the doorstep. Shot, score for Mangan right before he entered the crease. Fantastic job. Oberbeck to Mangan, 3-3. First goal of the evening for Brandon Mangan to go along with his 1 assist on the night. Big goal after good ball movement on the previous shot. Another good ball movement there as we're going to see it again on the highlight.
And the Seawolves come with a quick double. Conrad Oberbeck senses it and sees Brandon Mangan right on the back door. And that's beautiful quick stick.
And that's a big ball for Brandon Mangan. He's going to want to hold on to that one. His 100th career point. Huge moment for Brandon Mangan. 100 points in his career and a big goal now as it's 3-3. But quick shot from the Seawolves, saved by Eric Natali, keeping the Bulldogs locked in at 3. Bulldogs hopefully getting fired up from Mangan's historic moment. Early on now in the second quarter. I think Brandon Mangan's 8th in the nation and averaging 4.5 points almost per game. He's been on an absolute tear this season. 26 goals, 20 assists now on the season to lead the Bulldogs in both those categories.
And he's just a workhorse. He just doesn't, the motor just does not stop. He's always going.
Bulldogs back on defense now as Rogers cycles it back behind the cage. Over to Connor Duddy. Duddy up against Kucharczyk. Feints one way, now goes the other. Stripped by Kucharczyk. Ball down, diving play by Jimmy Kraft. Great job knocking it up to a sprinting Bulldog player, Mark Lassini. He's got some space. Lassini took a shot, takes a deflection. Oberbeck in there trying to scoop it up. It makes its way back to Shaughnessy. Mangan in against Shaughnessy. A lot of action there as Glassini just sprinted out, but a fantastic effort from Jimmy Kraft knocking that ball out of the mix.
Yeah, great fast break. Nobody slid to him. You take that shot.
For Mark Glassini, 2 goals, 3 assists on the season. Trying to get another point there, but took a deflection right as he tried to rip it up against Dan Shaughnessy. Chris Hughes now up top. Jalen Rogers up against Harry Kucharczyk, who stripped the last play. Connor Duddy again, who lost the ball on that last possession. An errant pass from him, trying to find the stick of Chris Hughes. Jack Ambrose out on the chase. Bit of a lucky pass now as it finds Jalen Rogers, who's got some space. Quick shot wide of Natali's net. Out of bounds, stays with the Seawolves. And now we get the first timeout of the night for Coach Andy Shea and the Bulldogs. 7:39 to play here in the second quarter. Bulldogs locked in a big battle against the Seawolves. Tied here 3-3, but a big goal from Brandon Mangan to get this Bulldog team back up at even strength.
And absolutely worth your price of admission. These Bulldog games in the last 2 weeks, just everything has just been these very close, really hard-fought games, great to watch. And just a great lacrosse game all around.
You certainly hope some pre-freshmen are going to be out at this game tonight, as today is the first day of Bulldog Days. It's where all the seniors in high school who have been admitted to Yale come to Yale's campus for 3 days to try to figure out if this is a place they want to go. Obviously coming out to tonight's game, you have the number 15th ranked Bulldog team in the nation in lacrosse out here tonight. And obviously, Yale men's hockey with a huge national championship over the weekend against the Quinnipiac Bobcats, winning 4-0 up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This campus went crazy. You know, I've never seen this amount of school spirit. You couldn't have timed it better for the timing of Bulldog days. You know, everyone is wearing their Yale gear. Yale athletics looks amazing right now, and there's, you know, not that many sports that the Bulldogs will see on ESPN. It really seems like hockey and now lacrosse are some of the few that get featured.
And the Yale hockey program is finished. You know, you look at Tim Thomas, really was building the framework for this team, and just an outstanding program. Just so exciting. You know, the last couple of years been able to, you know, drive up and down Quinnipiac Ave, or Whitney Ave to see Quinnipiac and Yale play, and to see them playing for the national championship was just outstanding.
And the men's hockey success certainly translate over to here in lacrosse. You know, it gets people a lot more fired up when they realize, oh wait, there's actually a nationally ranked lacrosse program here at Yale, as well as a bunch of students who previously did not realize that, you know, now are starting to show an interest in the Yale athletic program. Back on defense now for the Bulldogs. Good ball movement from the Seawolves, goes up top. Stripped, though, as Seawolves try to take it through the center. Number 23, Chalon Rogers. But Mike Rooney's there to pick up the loose ball. Right on Natalie's net. 5-hole score for the Seawolves, 4-3. They respond quite nicely. That's Brody Eastwood, the freshman from British Columbia, picks up his 30th goal of the season.
Just an unsettled situation, and Yale wasn't able to get the ball in the stick. Great ball movement, finding, you know, by Rooney, finding him on the crease right there.
It's Mike Rooney, who already has 2 goals. Finds a wide open Brody Eastwood, who is tied with the team lead in goals going into tonight's game, and now has the lead by himself with 30 goals. He was tied with Jeff Tundo. Bulldogs see themselves trailing again now, 4-3. Can't win that faceoff. Here come the Seawolves again, looking to extend their lead. As big as it's been, has been 1. Neither side has been able to get to a lead up to 2. It's with Matt Schultz.
And Dylan Lemmings, it seems like, has been on his face every face-off, and we still have yet to see a push or anything like that. And again, these refs just really are just letting them play today.
Jake Sekenzi is going to trot this ball back behind the cage, defended by Mark Glacini. Sekenzia. Quick ball movement now coming from the Seawolves. It makes its way over to Chalon Rogers. To Mike Rooney, who's moved to the top of the box for the Seawolves. Draws a quick slide from the Bulldogs. Back with Rogers. Now on the far side with Chris Hughes. Hard hit, though, from Harry Kucharczyk. Flag is down. It's going to be a penalty against Harry Kucharczyk and the Bulldogs. Mike Rooney gets a free possession now with Stony Brook, defended by Glacini. Rooney's going to start from his familiar position behind the cage. Quick movement up top. Shot wide there. Now we're going to get the penalty call coming against the Bulldogs, and I believe Harry Kucharczyk, he's going to be the one that has to trot off to take this penalty.
Yeah, it was a slash right on the double. Went for the slash and really went for the check, and the Seawolf player just ducked his head and it went right into his helmet.
Unlucky for Kucharczyk as the Bulldogs, their second man-down situation of the night. It's going to be a minute penalty this time against Kucharczyk. Ball started here on the near side. Quickly makes its way back to Rooney. Up top to Chalon Rogers. GLE back over with Rooney. Peter Johnson in on Rooney. A Torcep shot, score for the Seawolves. Another pretty little pass, finding a wide open Alex Harris. 2-goal lead now for the Seawolves, 5-3. It's getting started to be a little bit of a nervous time here for the Bulldogs. 5:31 left to play here in the second quarter.
Yeah, and this is where we need a Bulldog to step up. It really needs to start. They're going to trot Michael McCormick out to the wing here to help Dylan Lemmings win this faceoff, and Yale needs to pick up this ground ball and get it into the offensive end.
And that was actually a goal by Matt Schultz, the freshman from Smithtown, New York, picks up his 8th goal of the season. Again, you see Lemmings get a lot of contact. Finally gets a call going his way. Bulldogs, it feels like we haven't seen them on offense in the last couple of minutes. It's been a while. So Seawolves have flexed their offensive muscles for the last 4 minutes here in the second quarter. Bonacci looks to get things started now. Over to Shakespeare. Kirby's a drill. Had the pretty goal there in the first quarter. A quick catch and shoot for him. on a pass from Brendan Mangan. Shakespeare blows by one defender, gets a shot on with a lot of pace, but over the net. Mangan there to back him up. A good look, though, from Shakespeare. Mangan looks for an open Bulldogs player. Takes a pick from Conrad Oberbeck. Oberbeck defended by Tommy Monzo. Back over with Mangan. He's got Thornton open here on the near side. He finds him. Now up top to Bonacci. Bonacci up against the short stick. Draws the slide. Makes his way back with Oberbeck. Now over to Mangan. Up top with Shakespeare. Bulldogs, good movement. Very content to take their time here. 4:12 remaining in the second quarter. No timer on situation as of yet. And there it is, just as I say it again. Pass trying to find Zadrill. Couldn't get to him. Picked up by Shakespeare, but an errant pass tries to find Thornton. And here come the Seawolves on the quick break. It's J.J. Lafayette. He's got a lot of speed, but a quick hack from Bonacci. Johnson scoops up the loose ball. It comes out loose here right by the big Y. Kraft over quickly to pick it up. And yet they're going to say that he stepped on the touchline right before he released that. A big turnover goes right back to the Seawolves. Bulldogs need to get back on defense. Rooney loses his feet, but fires from his bottom wide. Good hunt from Natalia. A lot of action those last 30 seconds from both squads.
And great hustle from Natalia there. Really being aware. Nobody backing it up for the Seawolves, and he just ran out of the net.
They said Jimmy Kraft stepped out of bounds right before he released the ball, but good effort from him breaking the pass up on the ensuing next possession for the Seawolves. And then Natali backing up the shot from Mike Rooney that came from his keister. Still had a lot of power behind it. As there's a dangerous pass broken up by Rooney. He picks up the loose ball. Sloppy play now coming from both sides. Here come the Seawolves again on offense with Matt Schultz, the scorer of the last goal. And we're going to have a flag down.
I would say, an extra man or an offsides, but I haven't seen him. It didn't look like, Yale had anybody offsides there.
So now we get the stoppage of play. Going to have to wait to hear the call from the official. It is going to be a call on Ryan McCarthy for being offsides. Now 2:46. Bulldogs go down a man for the third time here tonight. So far the Seawolves have not been able to convert, but not a good time to be down a man with only 2:46 remaining in the first half.
And I'm not sure. I think Yale really thought they weren't offsides there, because if you had a guy that goes offside, you just send him in.
Yep.
Send him in and say, you're already offside. You can't be more offsides.
With Rooney. This makes his way up top with Jalen Rogers. Rogers gathers the ball back. So Jake Sakenzia over to Rogers. He's got space and said elects to go on the far side. Back to Sakenzia. Near side with Rooney looking for the hat trick. Shot wide. Great job, Jimmy Kraft, winning that race to the ball. With 11 seconds left on the penalty, a big win for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, this Stony Brook man up looks phenomenal. I mean, they're getting looks every time, and they're not getting, outside looks. They're inside, and they are dangerous.
Last look coming from Mike Rooney. I'm sure he's going to want a better shot from that position next time if he gets it. Now with Mangan. Comes behind the cage with Conrad Oberbeck. Bulldogs have 2 minutes and some change here to try to get things going. They really stuttered with only one goal here in the second quarter. Ryan McCarthy able to serve out his penalties back out on the field.
It looks like Yale's inverting their offense, so they're taking the short sticks behind.
Fired up top with Brendan Mangan. Trying to find some way to beat this tough Seawolves defense. It's Oberbeck, looks to get in on cage. Good slide from the Seawolves, prevents him from getting there. Turns, fires off the pipe. Unlucky for Oberbeck. Things are just not going the Bulldogs' way this quarter.
Yeah, Conrad Oberbeck, he can't buy a goal right now. He's had several good looks and hitting the pipe there.
Tom Monzo scooped up the loose ball for the Seawolves now as it comes its way to Shaughnessy. Dominique Sarazi right on the touchline before he goes out of bounds, able to release the ball. But look at this defense from the Bulldogs. Forced out of bounds. Another great job right on the end line for this Bulldog defense. McCormick now with 55 seconds left here in the first half rather. Bulldogs getting good looks still. That last look from Conrad Oberbeck, a very good look. Just, for whatever reason, just cannot seem to put them away here tonight against the freshman goalie. Now with Colin Flaherty. Over to Michael Lippin, this time on the far side. It's with Kucharczyk now with Mangan. Right by the Yale bench, goes back to Kucharczyk. A skip pass caught up on Colin Flaherty and out of bounds. 25 seconds left. Last time out of the first half used by Coach Shea with 25 seconds remaining. Really just threw away that last offensive opportunity.
Yeah, and it looked like they were setting something up. I mean, Brandon Mangan up top at the midfield line had a short stick. I'm just really surprised that they didn't. And here we're getting a look at that Conrad Overback shot, hitting the pipe. And getting good looks, beating the goalie, just have to put him inside the net.
It's unfortunate for the Bulldogs now as they trail 3-5. This Seawolves offense, we expected them to basically do this. They scored just under 11 goals per game, right on that average here tonight. But this Bulldog team, who averages 10.7 goals per game themselves, starting out slow again, and we've seen them start out slow both of the past two games against Dartmouth and then Brown last Friday night. And
you really have to wonder if the last 2 weeks, just back-to-back games, if it's taken a toll on them. The legs don't seem to be there as much. The team speed, a team that's just always so fast does not look as fast as usual.
Yeah, it certainly is tough, both physically and mentally, to try to prepare, for this contest. Just 72 hours after last Friday night's contest against Brown. Now 25.1 seconds left here in the first half. Bulldogs trailed by 2. It's going to be Seawolves' ball. Hopefully see a hard ride from this Bulldog team, trying to cause a quick turnover, maybe get a shot in on Shaughnessy. At the very least, they certainly don't want to give up another goal. Pressure coming from Kirby Zadrill. Seawolves makes its way up now. 12 seconds left. It's with Jalen Rogers. Takes it on the far side. 6 seconds to go. It's going to be Dylan Sparglia back to Rogers. Rips a shot in. I believe that was a pass, but picked off by Eric Natali. Tense moments, and that really, sums up this first half. It has been an exciting half from the first face-off till now, 30 minutes later. Both sides just going at it. Lots of goals and lots of hard hits from both sides.
And the Yale defense just letting a lot of guys open right in the middle and looking. The Bulldogs just really have to say what's going on here. Let's right the ship. Figure out what's going on. How are these guys getting so open right down on the crease?
Well, Bulldogs are going to head into halftime, take a quick 10-minute break, try to figure out how to get some goals in here on Dan Shaughnessy tonight. Shaughnessy's had a good half, but also has benefited from some luck as that last shot from Conrad Oberbeck found the pipe. Bulldogs need to try to right the ship going into the second half as they trail 5-3. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in a few minutes to break down the first half and preview and get ready for the second half. You're watching Yale All Access. welcome back to Reese Stadium on a Monday night here in New Haven, Connecticut. Paul Wasserman alongside Pat Reed. One half of play in the books. The Bulldogs trail the Stony Brook Seawolves by a score of 5-3. A tough first half of play for this Bulldog squad. You know, after they had a big game on Friday night, they're coming right back out here Monday night. Take a look at the highlights from the first half. We're going to start with the Yale goals first. There were only 3 of them. Take a look at the first one coming from Shane Thornton, just a rip from up top. Dan Shaughnessy had no chance there. Here comes the second one now. Great feed to Kirby's a drill from Brendan Mangan. Picked up the 99th career point, Mangan there on that assist, and here's his 100th career point. As it comes back behind the cage to Mangan. Well, I guess that one's goal. Now we're taking a look at the Seawolves goals. Natalia gives up the first one of the night. 5 goals on the night, 2 coming from Mike Rooney, and 3 assists as well. He's been involved in every single goal for the Seawolves offense. Going into the second half, you know, what do the Bulldogs need to do to shut him down in particular, as well as the rest of the Seawolves offense, Pat?
I think the first thing the Bulldogs need to do is just control the ball on offense and put the ball in the net. Once they take control and work through their offensive cycle, and really starts with the faceoffs. Win a couple more faceoffs. We're looking at Yale winning 4 out of 10 faceoffs, much lower than their average. They need to get the ball. They need to control it, get it on offense, and keep it out of his hands. Don't let him get the ball, and then put the ball in the back of the net.
For Eric Natali, 10 shots faced, 5 saves. Dan Shaughnessy on the other side, 7 shots and 4 saves. You know, a couple big saves from both sides. A couple back and forth things. We take a look at turnovers, 13 for Stony Brook, 9 for Yale. Yale's done a good job, you know, with their hard ride. They have a very good ride, using it to effectiveness tonight. A lot of, you know, out-of-bounds plays. The Bulldogs have been able to push the offensive Seawolves out of bounds. But again, it starts with the face-off. Bulldogs really didn't control that much time on the ball in the second quarter. Really, we felt like we didn't see him that often, you know, getting shots in on Shaughnessy. It starts on the with the face-off, and here the Bulldogs come out strong with Kucharczyk. A shot in on Shaughnessy. Shaughnessy came out to play, though. Big save from him, but Bulldogs a good win, but give it right back to the Seawolves. As here they come. Couldn't handle the ball, though, was Lafayette. J.J. Lafayette still fighting for it. Picked up now by the Seawolves as they're going to take their first offensive touch of the second half with a lead of 5-3, their biggest lead of the night. The Bulldogs only managed 1 goal there in that second quarter, just really struggling to get shots in on Shaughnessy here tonight.
And really would have loved to see Kucharczyk change the plane on that shot. Just, you know, high to high stick side. It's not going to beat Shaughnessy tonight.
Dylan Curry gathers the ball now for the Seawolves, makes his way over to Chris Hughes. Hughes battling against Alex Otero, able to push him back behind the cage as it goes back to Hughes. Up top now with Dylan Curry, who has 1 goal on the night. To Chalen Rogers. Back over with Hughes, now defended by Jimmy Kraft. There's a good slide from the Bulldogs. Big shot and an even bigger save from Natali. The Seawolves had time to get that shot off, but Natali saw it all the way into his stick. Here come the Bulldogs. Michael Quinn brings it in, looks for a shot, able to hold on to the ball, finds its way over to Oberbeck, but Oberbeck loses it out of bounds. Just a turnover for the Bulldogs that they really cannot afford to start the second half. Things just not going right for the Bulldogs on the field and off the field, as well as the scoreboard just lost its power. We're going to have to rely solely on our scoreboard up here in the booth. We do not rely on them. 13:34 remaining here in the second or third quarter. Take a little bit of a stoppage now to get the scoreboard working again here at Reese Stadium. It might be fortunate for the Bulldogs as the scoreboard quickly comes back up, but the Bulldogs, they came out, you know, they won the face-off, they got a quick shot, but the turnover there from Oberbeck, you know, it's tough. It's tough with a minute and a half into this quarter to not be again on the offensive side.
Yeah, and a great play by Michael Quinn with that clear. Really thought he was gonna take a shot and drew the defense out of position and made the pass to Oberbeck. One of those ones you got to have it. You got to have it at this point in the game.
It's going to be Seawolves ball now on the far side. They had just started their clear off the turnover from Conrad Oberbeck and the Bulldogs. Ball starts on the far side. That's J.J. Lafayette. He's going to throw a cross-field pass all the way now on the near side, right in front of the Seawolves bench. A dangerous pass. Couldn't find a Seawolves player. Picked up by Michael Quinn again, who's going to take it across midline. Pass to the straight line. Maybe this time he can get a shot off. Instead, he finds Gary Kucharczyk, And a wide open Conrad Overbeck, but again, a little bit too quick for his own good. Gave up the ball right back to the Seawolves.
And he's thinking too much right now. You know, a couple of shots not going his way, and he's looking at the goal before he's getting the pass.
A tough night for him. He took that shot in the second quarter right off the pipe. It looked like he'd beaten Shaughnessy, but unlucky for him, and a poor start this second half for him and this Bulldog squad. So now with Dylan Curry, picked up lightly by Mark Lassini, makes his way back to Mike Rooney. Really the person the Bulldogs want to prevent from touching the ball at all if they can here in the second half. It's Peter Johnson up against him. That's a tough order, but if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Johnson. Now with Curry, over to Chris Hughes, picked up by Michael Quinn. Gets a dodge, finds its way right on top of Eric Natali. Shot, score. The Seawolves come out on fire to start this second half, 6-3. Goal coming from number 18, Brody Eastwood. He scored the last two now for the Seawolves.
Yeah, and Jimmy Kraft just took a step, got out of position, and couldn't get back to make the check.
Brody Eastwood, the leading scorer for the Seawolves. Another player, obviously, the Bulldogs know they're going to want to watch out for. You see Chris Hughes here able to beat Michael Quinn and find Eastwood right on the doorstep. Kraft just a second too late behind Eastwood. Levington was able to win the first faceoff of this half and takes the second one now. It's really what the Bulldogs need to try to do to get back into this game. Now trailing by 6-3, a 3-goal deficit for this Bulldog squad. The biggest one they've faced in the last month.
And this is a tough team to come back on.
You got to keep in mind, last year the Bulldogs trailed 5-1 here in the third quarter and 7-5 in the fourth quarter and were able to come back. But again, a different Seawolves squad, really a much better Seawolves squad here this year, and a different circumstance for the Bulldog team, who must be quite tired after their schedule these past 2 weeks. McCarthy looked to take a shot, but had his stick ripped out of his hands. It's a drill down fighting for the ball. Bulldogs able to retain possession as Mangan just takes a huge hit. It's going to be a flag down for that. Mangan just absolutely leveled by Cole Milliken.
And Coach Nagel's trying to give the ref an earful, but that was if we could get the replay on that, that was just a head-to-head. That's got to be a locked in.
Yep.
Yeah, locked in for a minute there. Brandon Mangan looked to roll off of it and just took the shot right to the head.
Mangan up quickly, though. Doesn't appear to be injured at all. Bulldogs are going to take their first extra man opportunity of the night. Huge chance for them to try to start their way and clawing their way back into this game. Trailing 6-3. Cole Milliken, a huge hit on Brandon Mangan. It's going to be the cause of this man-down situation for the Seawolves.
And Brandon Mangan, he just takes a beating every game. He takes everything that the other teams, they go right at him.
And he always seems to pop right back up as Mangan tried to get that ball to Zadrill, but knocked down by the stick of a Seawolves player. 40 seconds left on this penalty for the Seawolves, and they're going to get the ball right back. It's George Benitez with the ball on the far side. Makes its way over to number 22, Lucas Rock. Rock now with Chalen Rogers. The Seawolves are just going to try to eat down the time on this penalty. Really fortunate for them that they're going to be able to serve out this 1 minute locked-in penalty. Ball makes its way now on the far side, defended by Peter Johnson. It's up to Chris Hughes now, who's going to go from left to right, comes to the near side. Back at even strength. The Seawolves are now going to look to get their offensive started as Dylan Curry retakes the field. Curry up against Kucharzik. Makes its way over to Chalen Rogers, back to Curry. On the far side now, Glacini defends. Seawolves, a lot of good passing here on this offensive possession. A big save from Natali. He tries to get out of cage to retain possession. They're going to say he didn't get there in time, but a big save from him. Keeping the Bulldogs in this game only down 3. That would have been a big goal for the Seawolves.
Yeah, the Seawolves, Yale dodged a bullet there. Great save.
It's Dylan Curry now who gets a shot. Another save from Eric Natali, able to play that bounce nicely. But the Bulldogs can't pick up the loose ball. It goes right back to the Seawolves. There's a shot who took a deflection. The Bulldog defenders aren't sure where it was. It ended up back behind the restraining line, scooped up again by the Seawolves and Chalen Rogers.
And this is just a very uncharacteristic game for the Bulldog defense. You don't see the ball on the ground this long without them running down the field. Jimmy Kraft, Mike McCormick, getting fast breaks is what we're used to seeing here.
Back to Rogers. Up top with some space. Huge shot, score from the top of the restraining line. Seawolves get their biggest lead of the night as they push their lead 7-3. Coach Shea is going to take his first timeout. The Bulldogs certainly need it now as they trail by 4. Take a look at that 7th goal of the Seawolves. Chris Hughes' first goal of the evening. Had all sorts of space there and just fired one by Eric Natali.
And Eric Natali got a little piece of it, and he's got to be seeing the ball a little bit better. He's got to make these stops. That's a shot from pretty good distance.
Bulldogs now, again, their biggest loss of the season came 12-10 against Cornell. That's only a 2-goal loss. Here they trail by 4. The Bulldogs, certainly in danger of letting this one get out of their hands here quickly as we're halfway through this third quarter. Bulldogs haven't managed a goal, since halfway through the second quarter, and have only managed 3 at that.
And it's tough being a Division I program. In the Ivy League, your start date is a little bit later with your games, and you have to squeeze the games in. And so getting these games in, a couple of years ago, Yale didn't get into the tournament because one of the big arguments was their strength of schedule. So they had to add more teams, add them in, on a shorter time span.
Again, the Bulldogs have never lost to the Seawolves. That's a stat you throw out there, but then obviously it can work against you as these teams, they come in knowing they've never beaten the Bulldogs, and you're going to get a 100% type performance against the Bulldogs every night. Every game they're going to play, they're going to look to knock off the 15th ranked team in the nation, and that's exactly what the Seawolves are doing here tonight. They've certainly come to play.
Yeah, and they're not letting up. This is where they, as a coach, you tell your kids, keep on pushing, keep on pressuring. Don't let up now because this is a team that can't come back if you let them into it.
It's Cole Milliken who was able to pick up the ground ball off another face-off win for Stony Brook. To Chalon Rogers. Milliken's going to jog off after he did a good job maintaining possession for the Seawolves. Back behind the cage, defended by Michael Quinn. Takes a pick from Rooney. Ball goes back to Rooney. That's Chris Hughes defended by Glacini. Hughes goes back behind now with Rooney. Rooney looks to beat Peter Johnson. Turns, fires, saves from Natali. Able to get his stick down, now fights for the loose ball. Picks it up, there's a good save from Eric Natali. Here come the Bulldogs on the break. It's with Mark Glacini. He's got space. Brings it into the restraining line. Over to Alex Otero. Bulldogs look for their real first extended offensive possession of the night here in the second half. It's now with Michael Bonacci. 7:32 remaining in the third quarter. Bulldogs have yet to get their first tally of the second half. Trail by 7-3.
And we see Yale's going back to its standard attack behind, setup. They had Brandon Mangan up front before.
Shane Thornton now with it. Over to Shakespeare. To Bonacci. Bonacci's got a lot of playing time again in the past few games as well for Coach Shea's squad. Thornton back behind the cage to Mangan. To a wide open Bonacci who fires and scores for the Bulldogs, ending the scoring drought 7-4. The Bulldogs certainly needed that goal. Michael Bonacci, his third goal of the season to go along with 3 assists. Couldn't come at a better time for the freshman out of Crofton, Maryland. Really, stopping the bleeding, we hope, for this Bulldog team.
Great time and room shot, high to low. Picks that low and away corner.
You really saw that nicely there on that instant replay. They're going from high to low. Great job changing the levels for Bonacci in his third goal of the season. Now we go back to the face-off X where Levens looks to get the Bulldogs on a bit of a run up against Lafayette. Levens does a good job winning, and here come the Bulldogs again on offense. Dumps it out to Kucharczyk, but Kucharczyk again, we've seen that a few times from this Bulldog team, moving a little bit before they have the ball and just turning it over. But, errant passing from the Seawolves gets it right back with the Bulldogs now, and Peter Johnson's going to try to take it himself through the restraining line. Walks it up to Conrad Oberbeck, and here we go again for the Bulldogs back on offense. trailing now by 3 goals to the Stony Brook Seawolves.
And Dylan Levings for what a great face-off guy. You really just want don't just flip the ball. Make the good pass. Make the pass to him.
He just wanted to get the ball out of his stick. Now with Shane Thornton. If the Bulldogs can go on a bit of a run here, it'd be crucial for them to get back into this game. Oberbeck cycles it over to Mangan. Now to Shakespeare, back up top with Michael Bonacci, who got that last goal. Bonacci's going to draw a quick slide, finds his way to Shakespeare. To Zadrill, taking a lot of pressure from some Seawolves defenders, up against 4, it seems. Still holding on it. He is taking a beating, holds on with it, fires as he goes down. A fantastic job from him as J.J. Lafayette really just beating him with the lumber as Zadrill. I don't know how he held on to that ball.
Well, and the NCAA tried to change his sticks up. I don't know that they necessarily got it right.
Oberbeck now on the restart. Finds its way over to Sean Shakespeare. Bonacci up against a short stick. Looks to get his second goal of the night. Beats his defender. Takes a shot. Big save from Shaughnessy. A good move from Bonacci, but an even better save from the goalie. Seawolves team, though, very careless, you might want to say, with their passing here on this clear. Fortunate not to turn the ball over there on that clear.
And they're playing fast and loose.
Another good turnover from the Bulldogs. It's Sean Shakespeare who was able to push his guy out of bounds, causing the turnover. Before play could get restarted, though, we're going to get a timeout called for the Seawolves now, as they only have a 3-goal lead, but it looks a lot more shaky now than it did a few minutes ago. The Bulldogs have seemed to have found a bit of life here at Reese Stadium.
Yeah, that goal from Bonacci really kind of lit a fire under the Bulldogs, and we're going to start seeing them. They're hustling after these balls. They're trying to take care of it a little bit better. And the Seawolves are starting to get a little reckless with the ball, making these passes, a couple of real dangerous passes right around the goal. And now we're going to look at that. I think this is the goal from Bonacci. Great ball movement. Just no way the Stony Brook defender can get out to play that.
Great pass, finding a wide open Bonacci, who had all sorts of space to line up that shot and just rip one against Shaughnessy. For the Bulldogs, they're doing stuff now that they weren't able to do in the first 2 quarters, and that, namely, it all starts with possessing the ball. They really didn't do that in the second quarter, and that hurts you in 2 ways. One, obviously, you're not getting shots, but when you give the Seawolves offense that kind of time with possession, Mike Rooney is going to pick you apart. Brody Eastwood as well now with 2 goals. So Bulldogs, your best defense in this case really has to be that offense.
Yeah, very dangerous scores. And, I'm sure that the Bulldogs went in at halftime and said, okay, look, Rooney's picking us apart. We really just have to get somebody on him and get a lot of pressure on him.
As you just see Kirby Zadrill here really taking the entire Seawolves defense. Hits from Lafayette repeatedly, and I don't know how he holds on to that ball, but able to get out of there and takes a shot after it. I mean, that's an exhausting task for Zadrill there. Just took a beating.
And one of the things, like I said, the NCAA tried to make the sticks a little bit more easier for the ball to dislodge, to try to cut down on the big, hard checks that have to come. They widen the bottom of the stick, but they let the top of the stick get tight. So these players can still string these pockets so that it really holds in there very well.
So we're going to come out of the first timeout of the evening in the second half. 4:59 to play here at Reese Stadium. Bulldogs with 4, Seawolves with 7. Bulldogs trail, though, by as many as 4. Scored the last goal to climb back within 3 and are now looking to shave that deficit to only 2. Comes now with Kucharzik. Back over to McCarthy, who's had a bit of a quiet night after a big performance against Brown on Friday. Mangan takes a shot and a big save from Shaughnessy again. Again, a lot of firepower going in on Shaughnessy. This time he's able to catch that one.
A big save for Shaughnessy and the Seawolves.
Shaughnessy looking for a pass way downfield, knocked out of the stick, but quickly picked up by the Seawolves. Bulldogs very aggressive here. Need to be able to get back. Ball knocked out of the air by Michael McCormick down on the ground. McCormick fighting for it as well. Mike Rooney down there for the Seawolves. And it's going to be a whistle against the Bulldogs. Good hustle from them, but in the end, going to go against them. So here's a shot coming from Brendan Mangan. It's got a lot of heat behind that one. I do not envy Shaughnessy on that shot.
And hopefully at some point these shots are going to start falling, because if they don't, it's going to be a tough one for them to come back.
Dylan Curry for the Seawolves looks to get the Seawolves back in the scoring column. Haven't been stopped too many times when they've been on the offensive side of the ball here tonight. It's with Chris Hughes. Hughes defended by Kucharczyk. Now to Sakenzia. It's Jimmy Kraft on him. Takes it up top now as it cycles its way over to Chalen Rogers. Rogers up against Michael Quinn. Rogers taken down by a couple hard defenders of the Bulldogs. Up top with Dylan Curry. Shot, unsure where it is. It's on the body of Natali. It drops down on the other side of the goal line. Fortunate for him, it's another big body save from Natali. Here come the Bulldogs back on offense. Sometimes you need some luck if you're a goalie, and Natali fortunate to get his body in that right place at the right time.
And really the only, goalie's the only player on the field that if the ball gets stuck in their clothing or their equipment, they can drop out and they can get it out and play it. If not, the ball would have gone back to Stony Brook, but just a great save for Natali there.
And good job limiting the Seawolves to only one shot in on Natali. No rebounds to be given up and scooped up from the Seawolves to get another shot in on him. As Mangan has it now for the Bulldogs. Back up to Shakespeare, over to Bonacci. Bonacci's got a couple good looks in on goal now. This is with Shorten. Thornton draws a double. Back to Bonacci, who's on his knees, able to find Shakespeare on the far side. 2:10 remaining here in the third quarter. Bulldogs trailed by 3. You still got plenty of time left in this contest, but need to start getting some good shots in on Shaughnessy. Shakespeare. Good pass to Thornton. Thornton wide open and just took his eye off of that or something. Goes out of bounds. Thornton had a ton of space there to try to get a shot. Unfortunate now, 148. Here come the Seawolves again on offense. Ambrose, good defense from the Bulldog defender. Goes back behind with Rooney over on the far side. Jake Sakenzia, back to Rooney. Brody Eastwood. Defended by Jimmy Kraft. Going to try to take as much time off the clock as they can. Bulldogs going to need another strong defensive showing from them here.
Now the Seawolves are going to invert.
Bulldogs out quick to defend these. It's Peter Johnson. As it comes up top to Dylan Curry. Now with 50 seconds left to play here. We're going to get another timer on situation. The Seawolves have 30 seconds to get a shot in on Natali. That came with about 50 seconds left here in the third quarter. That's Chalen Rogers trying to get in on Natali. Errant pass going to go all the way out of bounds now. 35.5 seconds left. Bulldogs going to get another look, hopefully in on Shaughnessy. Comes up with Glissini, who tosses it up now to Alex Otero. 30 seconds left. Otero over to Oberbeck. Now to Mangan with 20 seconds remaining. To Flaherty here right in front of the big Y. Flaherty looks to curl in on Shaughnessy. 10 seconds left here in the third quarter. He's going to get to Mangan. Mangan looks to get it right in front of the cage. There's a quick pass. Had Glissini. It comes out to McCarthy. McCarthy looks to take a shot. Gets one off cage with as time expires. A big end of the third quarter as Ryan McCarthy from his knees fires a shot wide of Shaughnessy. We're going to head to the final 15 minutes of play here at Reese Stadium, and the Bulldogs have a tall task in front of them. They trail the Seawolves 7-4. Another strong quarter of play from the Seawolves team.
Yeah, and here's the save, Natali. You could see it go right up into his shorts, fall out the back of the leg there.
Does a good job though putting his stick on top of it. Some saves are better than others, but they all count in the stat book. Keeping the Bulldogs only down by 3. Bulldogs towards the end of that quarter started to get things going, it seemed, but really just unfortunate turnovers at key moments. That last one on that pass, Shane Thornton had all kinds of space and just a little too eager on that one.
And yeah, a couple of passes that the Bulldogs are missing. They need to get them. It's crunch time, if they don't start capitalizing on them, they're not going to be able to crawl back into this one. And it's right where they need to. The offensive firepower with Brandon Mangan, Conrad Overbeck, they can get back into this game. Kirby's a drill. They just need to find the guys inside and finish. And the looks are there, but it just has to happen.
And, the Bulldogs, we know they certainly can score 4 goals in a quarter. They did it on Friday night against Brown. After they trailed 8-7, they ran off with 4 straight goals midway through that quarter to win that game 11-8. It's a different team, obviously, tonight with the Stony Brook Seawolves. But, again, if they can just hold on to the ball, if the Bulldogs can, the first task, and then they just got to start putting these shots away and not turning the ball over when you have such good looks in on net.
And this will be the quarter where we'll be curious to see if Stony Brook starts trying to take time off the clock and if there are more stall warnings.
So we saw a stall warning on that last possession by the Seawolves. That caused the errant pass from the Seawolves, forcing the turnover for the Bulldogs. And obviously Dylan Levin needs to be huge on the faceoff X. Gets a big win there now up against a lot of traffic. Ball down, scooped up nicely by Jimmy Kraft. But look at this pressure from the Seawolves team. Really aggressive all 4 quarters, and it's continuing right now to start this 4th quarter.
Well, the Seawolves have taken 2 really close losses, and they just don't want another one. They're fighting. This is a team that thinks that they can make it into the American East, and they can actually win the American East and get into the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, the Seawolves losers of 2 straights, but only by 2 goals. One of them coming in overtime against Binghamton. Bulldogs did a good job, though, holding onto that ball, getting it from the defensive side to the offensive side of the field. As here they go again, trying to cut into this lead.
And the Bulldogs don't have to look any further than the other team. They were able to score. Stony Brook was able to score 9 goals in the last 16:42 when they were playing Binghamton. So Yale Bulldogs can absolutely put on an offensive show today.
Bulldogs don't need 9 goals. They only trail by 3, but still a big task for them. They need to try to get their offense going in the right direction now as it comes to Mangan. Mangan taking a fierce challenge from his Seawolves defender. He's going to opt to find Ryan McCarthy now. McCarthy blows by his defender. Shot, score for McCarthy. Getting things started for the Bulldogs. Fantastic job blowing by his defender and finishing nicely against Shaughnessy. It's what the Bulldogs needed.
Yeah, great offensive play by Brandon Mangan. Gets it started, drives, keeps his guy busy, and then passes away to Ryan McCarthy. The slide to Ryan McCarthy was just a second late. He was able to get his feet moving, get a nice high-to-low shot, and Shaughnessy just wasn't ready for it.
Bulldogs now back within 2, trailing 7-5. 13:42 left to play. Another big face-off upcoming now for Dylan Levings. One, though, a big win by Lafayette and the Seawolves. The fancy little pass finds another Seawolves long stick pole. So here come the Seawolves now back on offense with Chalen Rogers. Test the Bulldog defense that has been quite strong in the past couple of games in the 4th quarter. Not allowing a single goal last 4th quarter against Brown. Natalia had 5 big saves in that quarter. We'll see what they can do now against this very tough Seawolves offense. Up with Rogers. Now over to Chris Hughes. To Dylan Curry. Little spin move on Kacharczyk. Finds it right in front of the crease. A bouncing shot almost goes over Natalia's net. Natalia got a piece of it and has got it down in his area. And picks it up. Almost hits the Seawolves player on the clear. But here comes Quinn and the Bulldogs. Quinn, nice little move there, evading his defender. He's going to dump it off for the Bulldogs now on the offensive side to Oberbeck, over to Zadrill, now to Mangan. A good defensive series from the Bulldogs. Bulldogs back on offense. 3 minutes gone here in the 4th quarter.
And Oberbeck, that pass almost went a little bit high and out of bounds, and he's really just thinking about it too much. He's got to just put one in the net.
Been a tough game for him. As Oberbeck's going to go right in front of the cage. Comes up to Shakespeare. Bouncing shot, score. Sean Shakespeare continues the run for the Bulldogs. 7-6, a great little bouncing shot from him. The Bulldogs not going to go away in this contest. Take a look at the goalie, Shaughnessy. That's a tough shot from Shakespeare. Take a look at it now, an instant replay. It's the wrong goal, but Shakespeare, a huge goal right now. His first goal of the game, drawing the Bulldogs back within the one. The Bulldogs have scored the first 2 goals to start this quarter out, are coming out the way they really needed to come out in this quarter.
And everyone's just starting to step through.
But again, the Seawolves win another big faceoff. Here they come on offense trying to stop their bleeding. It's going to come over with Cole Milliken. Now to Mike Rooney, who's been a lot quieter than he had been in the first half, that's for sure. But here he comes in on Natali. Shot scored just as I'm trying to say he's been quiet. Mike Rooney picks up the hat trick. 3rd goal on the night to go along with 2 assists. Seawolves back up now 8-6. It's a big goal for the Seawolves.
And a very strong move to the goal. And again, no slide coming. He gets above GLE and just finishes low.
So with 11:47 to go here in the 4th quarter, Bulldogs trail by 2 again. Go back to the faceoff X where Levings has lost the last 2. Levings lost his stick. The Seawolves tried to come away with it, but Michael Quinn, great helping there, scooping up the loose ball. It's going to go back with Dylan Levings. He's going to cycle it over to Conrad Overbeck. So didn't win the faceoff, but able to get the ensuing ground ball. Certainly has the makings for a very exciting 4th quarter of play here at Reese Stadium, and what is the final home game of the season for this men's team before they go on the road for their last 2 games of this regular season at least against Maryland Terrapins next Saturday, and obviously Saturday after that, April 27th up in Cambridge, taking on the Harvard Crimson. But before they can get to there, they have to get through the next 11 minutes and change against the Stony Brook Seawolves. Bulldogs trailed by 2, trailed by as many as 4. As Johnson tries to keep that on the other side of midfield, goes for the big hit. So McCormick comes away with it. We're going to get a whistle against the Bulldogs. Certainly the coaches and the fan section of Stony Brook quite vocal for the officials here tonight. Bulldogs again back on defense now. Conceded a big goal the previous possession by Mike Rooney. 3rd goal of the night, 2 assists as well. Really just, doing it all against the Bulldogs.
Yeah, and I think the slide wasn't coming because he's just as much of a threat to feed as he is to score. So that they're trying to hold, and he's just got above GLE and was able to finish.
Going in tonight's contest, 13 goals and 13 assists. 3 goals, 2 assists here tonight. So yeah, he does basically everything, for this Seawolves squad. As it comes right back to Rooney now. This time he's in front of the big wide, defended by Peter Johnson, as he has been all night long. Over to Dylan Curry. Curry picked up by Mark Lassini.
And we got a timer on situation.
There's a quick timer on situation here in the 4th quarter. Picked up with Jalen Rogers, trying to get in front of the crease. Shot, score, a quick catch and shoot for the Seawolves. They go back up by 3 now, 9-6. A good little pass right in front of Natali's net and a quick shot from the Seawolves. And they're on their own mini 2-goal run right now, reestablishing a 3-goal lead.
And they were able to take advantage. They knew the quick double was coming. Here comes a quick double, looks the open man right in the middle.
It's a goal for Brody Eastwood. Now he has a hat trick as well for himself. There's 32 goals on the season for him. So these are the people that Yale had to expect who are going to come in here tonight and really, get some shots in on Natali. But boy, these players are certainly talented because they have been, both Rooney and Eastwood have been scoring at quite an impressive clip here tonight. Levings tried to pick up the loose ground ball. Takes a push and is now going to get the whistle. Quickly on the restart, here comes Levings on the near side. Bulldogs now have 9 minutes and 25 seconds left to get themselves out of what is now a 3-goal deficit. It was as few as 1 just 2 minutes ago, but Seawolves, good job tacking 2 goals back onto their lead. Back with McCarthy. Over to Oberbeck now with Mangan. Up top with Flaherty, who takes a shot. Not sure whether that took a deflection, but it goes out of bounds. Mangan there to back it up for the Bulldogs. With Oberbeck now. Oberbeck trying to get something going for him. Cuts one way, now gets his left side shot right over the cage. Now to Mangan. Mangan tries to curl, gets the ball knocked right out of his stick, but the Seawolves player can't keep it in his pocket. Ball down, Kucharczyk on the chase, wins it for the Bulldogs. Crossfield pass. Oh, we're going to get an offsides call against the Bulldogs. Big turnover now for Yale as 8:32 remaining. Seawolves back on offense with a 3-goal lead.
And that one hurts unbelievably.
Lucas Rock now over to Mike Rooney. Bulldogs still have time, but they need to start getting some defensive stops as Chris Hughes gathers it, defended by Harry Kucharczyk. To Dylan Curry. Now back with Rooney. Curry. Otero out to defend Curry. Curry tried to rip the shot, but didn't realize the ball was out of his stick. Flag down. Going to be a penalty against Stony Brook, I believe. Going number 12, Dylan Curry, I believe, on a body check. 1 minute penalty for the Seawolves. Bulldogs, second time up with the extra man. Going to try to convert here, again, trailing by 3. So 7:49 left to play here at Reese Stadium. Bulldogs trail by 3, 9-6. Got within 7-6, but the Seawolves have gone on a bit of a run here. Plays restarted with Kirby Zadrill. McCarthy back behind the cage, finds Mangan. John William McGovern now over to Thornton. Up top with his drill, over to Thornton. Back with John William McGovern now as it goes over to McCarthy. Near side with Overbeck, takes a shot, but shot's deflected before it can get to Shaughnessy. Ball down, McCarthy out to scoop it up right in front of the Bulldog sideline. Evades his defender nicely, over to Zadrill. 15 seconds left on the penalty. Here comes Overbeck, curling around, shot wide of the cage. Again, nothing can seem to go Overbeck's way tonight. Just unfortunate for the junior out of Greenwich, Connecticut.
He just can't hit anything.
Zadrill took a shot right off the helmet of a Seawolves player. There's a shot score for the Bulldogs. 4 seconds left on the penalty. John William McGovern gets his goal. I believe it's second goal of the season. Right before the end of the penalty, a huge goal for the Bulldogs. Brings them back within 2.
And a really great heads-up play. Ball pops up, and John William McGovern, right time, right place, just steps in, finishes high.
Good finish for John William McGovern, the freshman from San Francisco, California. You know, he's out there a lot on the extra man offense and was finally able to put one away there. Second goal of the season. Bulldogs now within 2. Stony Brook fans wanted a penalty call there, but didn't need one as the Stony Brook comes away with the win off the faceoff now on the far side, defended by Michael McCormick.
Well, and Stony Brook wanted a call saying that Dylan Leving was holding. I think it was more of a, Dylan Leving's stick was clinched under the defenseman's arm.
Almost a defensive lap there as Jalen Rogers almost able to get right in on Natali. Bulldogs scoop up the loose ball, able to get it out of the fray. Here they come again. It's Jimmy Kraft who's got all sorts of space. Over to Mangan. Trying to get in on the crease. Shot scored by a leaping Brandon Mangan. Bulldogs back within 1. Here we go, Bulldogs. Brandon Mangan fired up. Great job, Jimmy Kraft, though, getting that break started and finding a wide open Mangan on the far side.
And, I wonder if the Stony Brook team had seen Jimmy Kraft's shot from last week, so they were holding.
Finds Mangan, who brings it right to the crease, and a leaping Mangan gets his second goal of the night, his 101st career point. Bulldogs now down only 1, 6:13 left to play here at Reese Stadium. Bulldogs certainly not going away, but it's been trouble. They've gotten within once already here in this fourth quarter, and the Seawolves win on a run. We get a procedural call against, I believe, the Bulldogs and Levings. So they're going to need a strong defensive stand here if they're going to want to get the ball back. Trailed by 1 now, 6 minutes left to play.
And I'm really concerned. I'm surprised. If offensively, if a team gets 3 procedural calls on a face-off, that's supposed to be a 30-second time-serving penalty. It seems like there's been 3 or 4 called on Dylan Levings or on the Bulldogs, so I'm really surprised that there hasn't been a time-serving penalty.
Jalen Rogers now over to Chris Hughes. Defended nicely by Alex Otero. Rogers back to Hughes. Big defensive test now for the Bulldogs. Hughes takes it back behind the cage. Otero and the short stick trying to push him wide. Up to Mike Rooney, who's able to receive that pass. Timer on situation. Again, they're coming quicker and quicker now here in this fourth quarter. Hughes tries to curl. Good defense from Peter Johnson to Rooney now. Kraft on him. Rooney looks to get some space. Finds an open Seawolves in front of the cage, but shot wide. Stays with the Seawolves. Natali gave chase, but the Seawolves were there before him. That's Hughes this time, trying to get a swim move in on Natali. He does. Hughes the shot, score, and the flag down. The Seawolves team certainly does not go away. Every time it seems like the Bulldogs try to make a run back into this contest, they respond with a huge goal. I believe that goal is for number 34, 26, Jake Sakenzia. Great swim move, getting in on Natali. Draws the flag as well.
Well, the question is it going to be a technical that's wiped out by the goal, which I believe it is. So there's not going to be anybody in the box. It'll be even strength still. But the slide's just not coming on these ISOs from behind. And I think Yale's fearing these passes into the middle because Stony Brook is just finishing everything.
So Bulldogs now trail again by 2 with 4:57 remaining. No procedural call against the Bulldogs this time. The Bulldogs are able to come away with it with Michael Quinn now. Hard pressure, though. Looks to get it out of his stick. He does and finds Dylan Levings, who's going to give it up to Mark Lassini as Levings trots off the field. Going to take Michael Bonacci in on the offensive side in place of Levings. And Sean Shakespeare comes on as Quinn hops off. Shakespeare now finds Conrad Oberbeck on the near side. Oberbeck back to Shakespeare. Bulldogs trying to continue the bit of the run they've been on. They've got 4 goals already in this quarter, but they're going to need a few more. They're going to want to try to complete this comeback, as now it's with Shane Thornton right in front of the cage. Brandon Mangan does it again. Shot, score for the leading scorer of the Bulldogs. Hat trick on the night. Back within 1, Brandon Mangan.
How do you not keep tabs on Brandon Mangan right now? I mean, at this point, the Seawolves, they just need to leave everybody else and just focus right on him.
Another good pass, though, finding a streaking Mangan right in front of the crease, and a good, solid finish from him. Bulldogs, though, they've been in this position now. This is the 3rd time here in this quarter they've been within 1, but just can't seem to get that final goal to tie this game back up.
And a huge face-off won by Dylan Levings, but then turned over.
But Levings in, trying to fight for the loose ball, but it's going to be a whistle against the Bulldogs. A bit of a surprising call, at least from up here in the booth. The Seawolves going to regain possession. But a good play by the Bulldogs, able to push the Seawolves out of bounds. Here the Bulldogs come, 3:48 to go. Trying to get even strength. It's Harry Kucharczyk. Shot goes wide. Bulldogs able to back up the ball. Heads up play from Kucharczyk taking a shot.
Great play. Nobody was playing him, and he just kept on running.
Here we go, Bulldogs now. 3:38 to play here in the fourth quarter. 10 for the Seawolves, 9 for Yale. They've been down by as many as 4 twice in this quarter, but have battled back both times. They're looking for that final goal, though, that'll get them at even strength now as it comes to the far side. Bonacci back out to Shakespeare. Over to Thornton. Looks for the shot, shot wide. Bonacci in on the chase, able to get there in time. Getting a lot of quality looks from this Bulldog team here in this quarter. It's with Conrad Oberbeck. Conrad Oberbeck has just been stymied all day long. A bit of, lack of luck rather, as Mangan goes up top. Little dodge move from Thornton, able to hold on to the ball. Back to Shakespeare again. Plenty of time now for the Bulldogs. 2:54 remaining. So don't need to rush it too much. They've had good ball movement for most of this quarter as Oberbeck looks to curl. Draws a long stick now as it shuffles over to the drill. We'll have to see how long the officials are willing to wait before they put on the timer. Comes up to Shakespeare. Now with Oberbeck. Mangan goes up top as it finds its way to Thornton. Thornton's got some space. Takes a shot wide. Mangan there to back it up again. Thornton's got a couple shots here. 2:20 left here in the fourth quarter. Ball with Mangan. Now over with Oberbeck. Bulldogs trail by 1. Oberbeck trying to get in on the cage, but good defense from the Seawolves. Conrad one way, goes the other way. Shots and save from Shaughnessy. Stays in bounds with Mangan. Turned and fired by Mangan. Shaughnessy got a piece of it, and there's Conrad Oberbeck. First goal of the night. Couldn't come at a bigger time. Conrad Oberbeck ties this game up for the Bulldogs. 10 apiece, 1:56 remaining in this game. The Bulldogs, I didn't know if they had it in them, but they have battled back here in this fourth quarter.
And just another great heads-up play. Made sure he was backing up the shot. Slight deflection, gets it, and finishes. No angle. Great job by Conrad Oberbeck.
George Benitez, the defender for the Seawolves, just a little bit late in getting to Conrad Oberbeck. Oberbeck, good finish from him. He certainly knows how to finish, just struggled today to get some luck, but that time, he got that lucky bounce off the save from Shaughnessy. Now 1:52, the faceoff is crucial for both teams. It's going to go Yale's way as Mark Glacini picks it up. Takes a lot of pressure, though, from two defenders. Get a whistle down as Glacini took a big hit.
And Coach Shea called a timeout. He saw Glacini was in trouble and called that timeout. Yale knew they need something here.
Huge timeout from Coach Shea, keeping the Bulldogs with the ball. Now 1:45 to go. Back at even strength for the first time since the first quarter. The Bulldogs haven't led since the first quarter when they led 2-1. Trailed by 4 goals twice in this quarter. Have come back both times now, and that goal from Conrad Oberbeck off the shot from Brandon Mangan, huge.
It couldn't come at a better time. It was just the most important. Yale needed it more than ever, and now they get the face-off win when they need it, and now it's going to be an important possession. They need to put the ball in the net. The last thing that they want to do is not get a goal. And here we get a chance to look at the one of the Brandon Mangan goals.
And there's that last shot.
And here's Conrad Oberbeck. Yale needs to put the ball in the net right now and take a little bit of time, because the last thing that you want to do is give Stony Brook that a tie game and just that last second shot. Yale last couple of years they've really struggled with closing out the teams with those last second, when they get that last second play. So they need to take this one, get the ball, good strong possession, and just make sure that they're able to finish.
And for Conrad Oberbeck, that's got to be a great boost to his confidence. Struggling all game long. All game long he's been struggling, but that goal right there has certainly got to reignite his confidence. Going into the final minute 45, he comes right back to be just as potent of a scoring threat as he has been all game long. And on the far sideline, you have the hockey team out there cheering on the lacrosse team as well. They came out about halfway through this game and have been out here cheering on their fellow Yale athletic teammates, rooting for them. They know a little bit about how to finish games, in that NCAA tournament run. A couple big overtime wins. Obviously, the captain, Andy Miller, scored the game-winning overtime goal to get the Bulldogs into the championship game. So they're certainly doing all they can as the rest of the fans here at Reese Stadium to try to cheer this Bulldog squad on and complete what would be a remarkable comeback. As off the restart, Bulldogs take it. Up with Michael Lippin. Again, 1:22 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Bulldogs don't need to rush it, need to get a quality look in on Shaughnessy. So Ryan McCarthy has it. So crucial for the Bulldogs to not just throw the ball away.
And the refs looking at each other saying, hey, are we going to call this stall warning? And they're not. They're
This comes back with Ryan McCarthy. Officials have been much more quick on calling the stall warnings as here we go. Now 54 seconds left, and Bulldogs have 30 seconds to get a shot in on Dan Shaughnessy, the freshman goalie. Is now with Ryan McCarthy. Draws the slide. It goes over on the far side. Finds a wide open Kirby Zadrill. Shot, though, right over Shaughnessy. There's about 10 seconds left on the timer situation as that shot did not get in on cage. Bulldogs still need to try to get a shot as it comes with Mangan. Shot, big save from Shaughnessy. Ball down. There's just a dog pile in front of Shaughnessy's net. 29 seconds left. We're going to see who came away with it. But a big shot from Mangan and Zadrill, but an even bigger save from Dan Shaughnessy. And it's going to stay with the Bulldogs. And because it was a save by Shaughnessy, the timer is off. So we're going to have to see.
Where are they?
I'm not sure what they're calling now.
Were they calling a? Are they calling? They are. They're giving it to Yale.
Yep.
I thought they were calling a crease violation.
So ball's going to go with the Bulldogs. 27 seconds left. Timer off. A quick shot. Ball down. It's a chase to see who's going to pick it up. Stays in bounds right on the touchline. McCarthy's in there for the Bulldogs, fighting for it, as is Kirby Zadrill. Bulldogs come away with it. 14 seconds left. Up to Colin Flaherty. Flaherty looked for the shot. Pressure from the Seawolves coming. Flaherty tries to get to Mangan. Ball takes a deflection out of bounds now. 2.9 seconds left here in the fourth quarter. We're going to get a timeout now called by the Seawolves, Jim Nagel, as we're going to try to catch our breath up here in the booth. What a furious end of this game here at Reese Stadium. Colin Flaherty somehow managed to get out of that corner, but then off the pass trying to find Mangan. Ball just skittered out of bounds. Bulldogs couldn't get a shot in on Shaughnessy in those final 27 seconds.
And here we see Flaherty, just manhandled by 3 defenders, and Brandon Mangan just a second too late on that. But how the ball came out of there with Yale and was able to get to the net. Just a great play. Now, it's looking like.
It looked like the clock, from up here in the booth at least, it looked like there should be 4 seconds left on the clock, but it looked like the clock ran a little bit longer than it probably should have. The clock right now is reading 1.3 seconds. The ball's going to have to be taken down there on the far sideline, so you're going to need a quick long field pass and try to get a shot off.
Well, I see one of the officials walking over to the timers table, so I'm wondering if he's going to tell him to put more time on there.
It appeared to us up here in the booth that there should be more than just the 1.3.
I want to say it was 5, maybe 5.3 or.
Yeah, I looked up and saw 4.7. But what an end for this game. It's not over yet. 10-10. Bulldogs huge comeback. Had a couple chances there in the final minute of play to win this game outright. But right now, it looks like they're going to leave 1.3 seconds on the clock. All the players are congregated right in front of Eric Natali's net. You're going to get a downfield pass. It looks like it's going to be coming from J.J. Lafayette.
And 2.9 seconds left, so we're going to see a lot of movement here.
No guarantee that this game is going into overtime. Still a lot of time for a long pass and a catch and shoot. Bulldogs got to be on their toes. Lafayette gets this ball in the air.
And we need to check sticks.
And the ball did not come down before the ball landed on the ground. So that's going to send us into overtime, our first overtime game since the Cornell game here at Reese Stadium. Rather, the Cornell game was not overtime. Our first overtime game of the season here at Reese Stadium. So in what is our final game of the season here at Reese Stadium, 60 minutes was not enough to decide it. So we're going to head into the first overtime period, 4 minutes of play, sudden death overtime. The first team to score is going to win.
And this is where the Yale face-off team, the wingman, Dylan Lemmings, they need to come up huge here, get the possession. A lot of momentum, but it just takes one play. And that's, the great thing about, I love, they call it sudden victory. It's sudden death overtime. Call it what it is. This is going to be just a tough battle for these last couple of minutes.
Both teams with very high-scoring offenses. Both teams averaging just under 11 goals per game. Each of them has 10, so it's that 11th goal that's going to win it for one of these two teams. For Stony Brook, their last time they were in overtime was just a week and a half ago against Binghamton in Stony Brook, New York, where they fell 14-13. Again, the Seawolves have been on the losing side of a number of one-goal games these past few weeks. And obviously for the Bulldogs, their last overtime game was that 7-6 overtime victory against Penn at Penn a few weeks back on March 30th. So hopefully they're going to hope to continue that winning ways. Again, it starts with a face-off with Dylan Levings. He's going to take it against J.J. Lafayette. It's been a struggle all night long. He's won a few big ones, though, here in the fourth quarter when it counted. None bigger than this one, though.
And you really want to look at the guys he's got on the wing. Michael Quinn, he's got Michael Quinn on one wing, and he's got Glacini on the other. They really need to come up big and get this ball.
Levings does come away with it. It's Michael Quinn now that has it for the Bulldogs. Michael Quinn still holds on to it, takes another fierce challenge, and there's the first timeout used by Coach Andy Shea. Another good decision by him to use his timeouts. He's done a good job with those here tonight.
And Coach Shea, he knows his team has the momentum. He wants to make sure that they get a good possession. Let's run. We've had a lot of success moving the ball of late. Let's get some good shots. Let's make sure we possess the ball and don't throw it away. And really just take really good care of the ball. Play smart lacrosse.
Men's hockey team still out there on the far sideline on the offensive side of the field, obviously cheering on their lacrosse teammates. This fan section has been pretty packed all night long for a Monday night. It's gotten a lot chillier out here, but the Yale fans have done a good job showing up here tonight. Obviously, a couple pre-frost out there as well, and can't get much better than a Yale win tonight to get Bulldogs days started off. So we take a look at the face-off again. Nice job by Levings to win it originally, and then Michael Quinn picking up the loose ground ball.
And that's a huge ground ball by Michael Quinn. I honestly didn't see it get into his stick. I thought Dylan Levings was picking it up, and all of a sudden Michael Quinn comes away with it. So a huge, huge game, and this is where the Yale offense needs to step up.
For the Bulldogs, winners of 4 straight look to get to 5 in a row here tonight. Stony Brook, losers of 2 straight, trying to end their losing streak as they go back into America East play next Saturday against Hartford. Obviously, for the Bulldogs, they have a big contest coming up against the number 4 Maryland Terrapins this Saturday afternoon. A win here tonight, and this kind of comeback would be great for their confidence going into that game. Bulldogs, they have the possession. They have the chance to do it now. 3:47 left in the first overtime period. Bulldogs going to start with the ball. Comes up with Harry Kucharczyk. Kucharczyk finds Ryan McCarthy. We'll see how quick this Seawolves defense is to double and how aggressive they're going to be as it now finds Mangan. Draws the double as he takes a big hit as he leaps into the air, picked up by Shaughnessy. Shaughnessy out of his net. Heads up play from the goalie. Maybe not the best look for the Bulldogs as now the Seawolves are going to look to try to get their first chance in on Natali here in this overtime period.
And Brandon Mangan he went to the well one too many times on that play and just it wasn't there.
Dylan Curry brings it in for the Seawolves. And now Coach Nagel's going to use his timeout in the overtime period, trying to figure out a play to beat Natali in this Bulldog squad. 3:07 remaining in the period. 10-10, really, first team to score obviously wins it, and it's tough because they both have very good offenses. You got to be nervous if you're the Bulldog fan right now with this kind of offense out on the field for the Seawolves.
Yeah, and here we see Brandon Mangan jumps in the air and the slide is there. And honestly, there was no shot there. And honestly, he needed to stay on his feet and just run through it and try to pass that ball out of there. And Coach Shea and Coach Baxter in there talking to the defense, telling them what to do. And I'm sure just saying, hey, calm down, take your time, look for the dodges from behind. That's where they've had a lot of success tonight. So let's make sure we're dodging from behind. If the slide has to go, make sure that second slide is there to get a check on the feed.
And obviously you got to keep an eye on Mike Rooney, 3 goals, 2 assists on the night. Brody Eastwood, number 18, also with 3 goals. They've really killed this Bulldog squad tonight. They're going to be out there. You can bet your dollar on that one. So Eastwood and Rooney, really the main threats for this Seawolves offense. Bulldogs got their defense out there rather with Peter Johnson, Michael Quinn, Michael McCormick. Got Mark Lacini out there as well.
And Harry Kucharczyk.
And Jimmy Kraft out there as well. A big order now for the Bulldogs. They're going to be asked to make one more defensive stop at least here tonight against the Seawolves offense.
And Yale dropping into a zone.
Ball cycled out. It's with Jalen Rogers. Now near side, Mike Rooney, defended by Peter Johnson. Rooney goes down, ball out. Picked up by the Seawolves. Good defense from Johnson. Couldn't pick up the loose ground ball, though. It's with Chris Hughes.
And really dangerously close to a hold there.
Matt Schultz finds its way back with Jalen Rogers. Chris Hughes now comes near side, defended by Michael McCormick. Jake Sakenzia now finds his way back. Rooney now on the far side. Michael Quinn out on defense for the Bulldogs. Up to Chalen Rogers. Now there's timer on situation for the Seawolves. It's with Rooney up against Johnson. Tries to curl. Ball down, picked up by Natali. Big stop by the Bulldog defense. Peter Johnson, big hit on Rooney. Here come the Bulldogs now. 1:50 left in the first overtime period. Bulldogs able to get across the midfield line with Mark Lassini. Over to Conrad Oberbeck. Here they go again for the Bulldogs, the second time in this overtime period, trying to get the game-winning goal. 10-10 against the Stony Brook Seawolves. Michael Bonacci now for the Bulldogs, as the Bulldogs are going to try to get the right personnel in. Faked Harry Kucharczyk coming off. Harry Kucharczyk's got space, shot and score for the Bulldogs. It's all over as Harry Kucharczyk scores the game-winning goal and is mobbed by the fans and this lacrosse team. Bulldogs win 11-10. What a goal from Kucharczyk.
And that was just a defensive breakdown. Kucharczyk looked like he was going to go off, and then he just turned around, and the Stony Brook player just kept on going, and it just opened up a great opening for the Bulldogs.
We're going to take a look at it now as Bonacci is going to find Kucharczyk. He's got all sorts of space. Great shot, beats Shaughnessy for the 11th goal of the game. What a comeback for this Bulldog squad. You know, halfway through this fourth quarter, it didn't look like the Bulldogs were going to be able to get there, but they mount a 4-goal comeback twice in the fourth quarter to send it into overtime, and with 1:24 left in the first period, Harry Kucharczyk with his first goal on the night, the game-winning goal. Bulldogs are going to move to 8-3. What a thrilling game out here.
Absolutely, and you know, your heart goes out to the Seawolves. They played a heck of a game, you know, and you look at their last 3 games, you know, Binghamton, down 9 goals, you come back, they lose that one in overtime. They lose to UMBC in 13-12. This one, they have a 4-goal lead in the fourth quarter, and Yale's able to mount a comeback and put the ball in it and win it in overtime. Your heart goes out to them, to Shaughnessy, but credit the Bulldogs with just an outstanding never say die mentality.
They never gave up, and in that overtime period, they got a huge defensive stop by Peter Johnson against Mike Rooney, the guy that the Seawolves, you know, have been relying on all night long. Johnson finally able to get the better of him, picked up nicely by Eric Natali. It really started it. Michael Bonacci's probably going to pick up that assist, finding Harry Kucharczyk. Wow. What a game.
Well, and I don't think we can come up with a better way to end the Yale All Access lacrosse season. Every game has been fantastic, and this one just icing on the cake.
Just a great game all around from, you know, here in the broadcast booth. It's been a huge pleasure to watch this. Certainly exciting from the moment it started. Bulldogs are now going to have won 5 straight. They have 2 games left on the season, or the regular season at least. Maryland next week, and then Harvard the week after that up in Cambridge. This is going to be great for their confidence, as, you know, what a comeback against this Seawolves squad. The Seawolves now fall to 0-4 all time against this Bulldog squad. It looked like they were going to get their first win, but not the case here tonight at Reese Stadium. As Bulldogs finally going to get a few days off to try and prepare for Maryland. And after this win, you know, what a way for us here at Yale All Access to go out. I want to give a big shout out to everyone on the broadcast crew. We finally managed to get our HD cameras out there. Instant replay came up huge again here tonight with 11 goals for the Bulldogs, 10 for the Seawolves, all on instant replay. Big thanks to them. Big thanks to the producers, and obviously to Pat Reed, as always. Fantastic color commentary. It's been a pleasure broadcasting these games, and we wish all the luck for the Bulldogs in the remaining games they have. Hopefully they have a lot more left to go here in this season. So with that, that's going to do it for our final broadcast of the season. I'm Paul Wasserman for Pat Reed. Have a good night, folks. The Bulldogs win 11-10.